Hello and welcome back. If you're new here, my name is Annie. I'm a crochet pattern designer. I love talking about all different crochet related things here on my channel. And today we're going to be talking about some of my recent crochet favorites. We're going to be diving into all sorts of things from yarn to hooks to patterns, all the way to some small business favorites that I've had recently. Just a few of my favorite small business related products and all sorts of different crochet things that I have just been loving recently. You guys seem to really like these more chatty style videos where we just kind of sit back and talk about all sorts of different crochet stuff. So hopefully you can grab yourself a crochet project to work on and a cozy little drink, and we can just go ahead and dive straight into my list. So I've broken this up into a bunch of different categories, but the first one that we're going to be starting with is yarn. And I've had all sorts of different favorite yarns recently, and we have a ton of them to talk about. Some of these might not be a huge secret if you watch my channel pretty regularly, but the first of those is the Hobbies velvet yarn, specifically in the fine weight. It makes the cutest little tiny velvet plushies, and you know I am a big fan of tiny plushies. I just think they're so adorable, and this is my favorite velvet yarn to achieve that look. It's also worth mentioning that the colors are so amazing in this collection. I just love this green so much. It is so pretty. And of course, another one of my favorites is the Loops and Threads Skinny Chenille, because it is the perfect little tiny chenille yarn to make a cute little plushie, and I just love using it so much. So that's a yarn that I've been super excited to include in my little yarn collection here in my studio. I believe it's been a year since we recorded one of these crochet favorites videos, and that's definitely a new addition to this list because I think this is a newer yarn at Michael's. Lion Brand Feels Like Bliss is another favorite of mine. It is just so easy to work with for a fur yarn. I love it so much, and it's also very soft. And if you're someone that doesn't love working with fur yarns, you could also hold this double with something like Premier Parfait Chunky to make it even easier to work with. My one gripe about this yarn is that I wish there were more colors, and I'm hoping that they add some more soon because we could really use some. Karen Latte Cakes is another yarn that I tried for the first time recently, and it is so beautiful. It is so soft, and it doesn't look like it would be the softest yarn ever, but I recently made a heart blanket with this yarn, and it is just so fun to work with, and I think it's so unique and pretty. I think it would be really nice to make a cardigan or something with this yarn, but I will say I'm curious to see how it holds up in the wash. I have not washed this yarn yet, so I'm gonna have to keep you updated on that. And we have some honorable mentions because these might be slightly obvious if you watch my channel pretty regularly, but Premier Parfait Chunky, of course. I feel like their formula has gotten so much better over the past year, and I would love to know if that is not just me. If you have also noticed that, I would love to hear in the comments because something about it has just been so amazing lately. But the other yarn that I have to mention is anything from Arcane Fiberworks. All of their yarn is hand-dyed merino wool, and it is so beautiful. It's my favorite to use when I'm knitting socks, but it's also so great for things like sweaters and really just anything. It's so beautiful and so soft, so I had to include that as well. There are a few other yarns that I cannot include on this list yet because I technically have not tried them, but I just want you to know, keep a lookout on my channel because we have some really fun yarn reviews coming up here pretty soon. I'm really excited about them. I don't know if I'm gonna love or hate them yet. I feel like it is a pretty exciting time for us amigurumi crochet artists because there's a ton coming out recently. I believe I might even have a bonus video going live this week where we're going to be reviewing one of these yarns, but fingers crossed because I really hope I like this yarn. We'll just have to see how that all plays out. The next category we have to talk about is crochet hooks, and lately I'm just really liking to keep things simple because I have been influenced a time or two to try new crochet hooks, novelty crochet hooks, really fancy ergonomic crochet hooks, and I just have to say I'm never that impressed. And I hate to say that because I want to be, I really do want to be, but I just always come back to my Clover Amour hooks. They're really just my favorite. They're so durable and so easy to work with, but I do like to spice them up a little bit, and that is with this Etsy shop called Hooked by Holtby, and they do really beautiful like resin crochet hooks, but you can get a Clover Amour crochet hook inside of it. So that's one of my favorite ways to kind of make it feel a little more personalized, a little more fun, and they have tons of different options that you can choose. I have the crayon ones, and I think they're so pretty, but that's like my go-to crochet hook. I really don't have any like novelty crochet hook favorites. I do love like a clay crochet hook as sort of like a decoration, but it's not really something I find myself myself reaching for very often. Another crochet hook that I do love is the Tulip Edimo Red. I will say that I think the hook might be slightly sharper. I forget the word for that. There's a word for it, but I can't think of it. But I do find that those are both some of my favorites, and they're really the only ones that I find myself reaching towards. And I've pretty much tried every crochet hook under the sun at this point, so we're introducing a new category to this list this year. I did not include this category last year, I don't think, but it is gadgets. So recently here on my channel, I made a video talking about all different types of viral crochet gadgets, putting them to the test and sharing which ones I enjoy and which ones I don't love. And there are a few from that video that I do actually find myself reaching for, so I'm going to be sharing them with you here today. The first being the neck light that I shared in that video. It was only like $10, I believe. But I wanted to update you because one of the concerns that I had in that video was whether or not the battery life would be very good, and I just have to say it is amazing. I filmed that video about a month ago, I think. I still have not charged the neck light and I use it all the time. It is so nice to have on the couch when I'm watching a movie or something and just need that little bit of extra light. I mainly find myself using this for knitting though. I'm not sure why, it's just the way it is. The next thing that is so helpful, and I've been using this for a while, is my Volare pillow. I believe they might have just rebranded, so there might be a new name for this pillow. I'll have to link it in the description, and I do think I have an affiliate link with them, but it is just so nice to use on the couch, and it really does help with wrist, shoulder, neck pain, all of it, because it kind of just gives you like a really nice spot to prop yourself up, so you're taking a lot of the tension off of your shoulders. But I will say, if you don't have a Volare pillow, you could probably also use a nursing pillow, like a boppy of some sort, and that would also work really well. And probably the gadget that I was most excited to enjoy as much as I did were the lazy readers that I shared with you in that video. They essentially have sort of like a little prism going on inside of the lens where the mirror angles your vision downwards, so they're really helpful for alleviating any neck pain that you might have. But basically you can keep your head straight while looking down, so it's really useful for knitting and crocheting. But you can also use these if you want to lay on the couch and put your head on a pillow and watch a movie that way. So I really just enjoy these a lot, and they're pretty cheap. I want to say they were about $10 on Amazon, so I find that they're just worth it. They're kind of just nice to have, and I do find myself reaching for them a lot more than I thought I would. So that's just a little mini section I wanted to include because these are things that I do actually enjoy a lot and I'm kind of surprised by. Another sort of bonus one is the pop-it counter, but I've been loving that for years at this point, so I guess that's worth mentioning as well. It's just really nice for keeping track of rows and rounds in your project without getting confused or having to write it down somewhere else. I just find that's the easiest way for me to keep track. Our next category is crochet patterns, and there are just so many that I love, so it was really hard to narrow these down to just a couple. As much as I love designing my own patterns, I also love following patterns from other designers because it's just really nice to be able to turn my brain off in crochet and not feel like I'm having to figure out a pattern for myself. So for starters, this one is definitely not going to be a secret if you've watched pretty much any one of my videos in the last few months, and that is the mini fidget caterpillar from All From Jade. I have loved making these so much. I've been selling them in my shop as well for a while. They sell really well, they're super easy, they're super mindless, and they're a great stash busting project. I really can't say enough good things about these adorable little caterpillars. They're also super fun to fidget with, so of course I had to mention those here. They're definitely one of my favorite patterns from this whole year, all of 2025 so far. I've also really been loving the moth pattern, Lulu the Moth from Megs Makes Crochet. I really love all of her patterns. They're all so amazing, but this one especially is so cute, and whenever I post about it, I always get tons of people asking about it and where the pattern is from, so I figured I should mention it here as well because it really is just such an adorable little chunky moth. Another recent favorite has been the Crochet Grove Triceratops. I have made 2 of these in the past few weeks, and I just think they're so cute, and it's such a really nice and flowy pattern. There's not a ton of sewing, which is something that I love, especially when I'm working on a bigger project like this. It has been so nice working on these. And I do have a few honorable mentions because on the day this video is going live, my horse and cow pattern is releasing. So if you're watching this video, it means that that pattern is live. I'm gonna have it linked in the description along with everything else that I'm talking about in this video, but it is such a fun pattern and I have been obsessed with making these. Even though it's my own pattern, I've been loving to make the horses into My Little Ponies. It's been my like recent little fun project I've been working on, but same with the cows. The cows are so much fun, and I recently made one in Feels Like Bliss, which is a yarn that I mentioned earlier. They're just so fun. They're so quick. They're pretty low sew. There's really not a ton of sewing involved, and I just can't say enough good things about them. Obviously, I'm a little bit biased, I will say, but I think they're really fun and I think you would enjoy them. So those just released today, so feel free to check them out if you want to. And another honorable mention is a pattern that I designed recently. This is the Ivy cardigan, and it's actually going to be releasing next Monday. So Monday, June 16th, the tutorial will be live here on my YouTube channel. It's going to be the full-length tutorial for the cardigan, and then I'm also going to have the free pattern available on my website. And if you would like to get a copy of the ad-free PDF, it's going to be available on my Etsy shop as well. So lots of exciting patterns that I've been working on behind the scenes that I'm just really excited to share with you. I feel like I could go on and on about crochet patterns, but maybe that is its own video where I just share all of my favorite crochet patterns from the year with you. Let me know if that's something you would be interested in, because I definitely can start compiling a list of them. I also want to talk about some of my favorite creators here on YouTube. I think this is a really fun way to kind of shout out some of the people that I love watching, specifically in the crochet niche, of course, because I just find them so inspiring. I think they're so talented and creative, and I just love watching other crochet content creators. So one of my recent discoveries is the Faded Wildflower Crochet here on YouTube. She makes so many amazing videos where she reviews different sorts of crochet kits or yarns and all sorts of things, and I think her videos are just fabulous. So if you haven't heard of her or you haven't seen her videos, definitely make sure to go subscribe to her because I just love her content so much. The next creator I had to shout out is Dana from Blondie Knots. She's so creative and shares so many amazing things on her channel. I just love the variety of content that she shares on her channel, and I think my favorite videos that she does are ones where she's recreating things. So recently she did a video where she recreated an anthropology top. I think it was like a short sleeve sweater top and it had tomatoes on it. I loved seeing that. She also recently did a video about her crocheting a labubu. So I love how she kind of ties in some of the more like trendy topics that are going on to her videos and turning them into a crochet version. Instead of having to go out and buy the thing, she'll just crochet it. I think it's so cool. Elise Rose Crochet is another one of my favorites that I have been watching for years at this point. Her videos are so well researched and fun to watch. They're probably my favorite to turn on when I'm just looking to absorb something and not pay a ton of attention to a video, but I also learn a whole bunch of things in the process. So I love her channel for that sort of vibe. There's just always something new to learn on her channel, but it's presented in such a fun and unique way. So I just love Elise and the content she shares. And last but not least, one of my all-time favorites is Jenna from Crochet by Jenna. She really is just such a sweet person, and I can't get enough of her content. Her energy is just amazing. I love everything she makes, and I feel so lucky to get to call her a friend. She's really just so awesome, and I admire her so much. I thought this would be a fun category to include because if you know me, I love a bonus hobby, and so crochet will always be my main hobby, but I feel like I always discover little side quests, if you will, in the process of all my crocheting, because it kind of just gives me a nice way to take a break, turn my brain off a bit, and refresh, I guess. And so the most recent one is one that I have actually discovered from Crochet Grove and Garden Hoe Crochet, and it is the little beaded animals that I feel like most of us made during our childhood. It's like the classic summer camp project, like the beaded gecko, and so I have been loving to make those. But specifically, I started making little beaded possums with the glass seed beads, and I put little keychains on them so they turn into little stitch markers, or you could use it as a keychain. You can really do anything with it, but they've just been so fun to work on when I don't really want to crochet, but I just want something to kind of work on and turn my brain off a bit. So those are super fun, and I will include all the supplies that I use to make mine in the description if you want to make your own as well. And of course, coloring. I love coloring. I have been so influenced into coloring with TikTok and everything like that. So I love my Bobby Goods coloring book. Those are probably my favorite because the paper is a little bit thicker, so the ink doesn't soak through quite as much, and then you also still need to put like a plastic sheet behind it so it doesn't saturate the page behind it. But I love working on those with my Ohuhu markers. They're so much fun, and it's really cool to go onto TikTok and see all the different ways that you can kind of color in a sheet, how other people do it, different textures and things that you can play around with while coloring. So that's been a super and exciting, fun little side hobby that I've taken up recently. And the coloring books last me so long. I have been using the same coloring book for over 8 months at this point, and I still have not completed it. So I've just been loving it. And last but not least, this one will come as no surprise, but knitting socks. I have an entire video about this here on my channel, everything you need to know about knitting socks, but it is just one of my favorites because it really does just become a mindless project after a while. As far as knitting goes, it's a pretty quick project. They're so fun to whip up, and I feel like being able to gift somebody hand knit socks is just such a special thing. So that's something I'm currently working on. I've been knitting a lot of socks to hopefully give to a lot of my family for Christmas this year, and usually I knit my socks with a fingering weight yarn, but I will say recently I've been really enjoying making my socks with a DK weight yarn because they go even faster, and honestly they're just as comfy and cute, but you can make them in like half the time. So I've been really liking that. Both patterns that I use are the vanilla socks by Crazy Sock Lady. She has the classic fingering weight sock pattern, and then she also has a DK pattern as well that's free on her Ravelry. So I saved my small business category for last just in case this is a favorites category that doesn't interest you really, but I do know that I have a lot of fellow small business owners that watch my videos here on YouTube, so I figured I would just share some things to hopefully help you out as well, just some things that I've discovered. So first of all, something I'm not sure I've ever addressed here on my channel is the camera that I use. I absolutely adore this camera. I think it's pretty popular amongst content creators, but it is the Sony ZV-E10. As far as cameras go, it's relatively affordable, and I think the quality is pretty decent, and you can always upgrade the lenses down the line, but I haven't done that yet. I'm just using the lens that it comes with and everything like that. But I've really been enjoying this camera. I've been using it for the past year and I have no issues with it. It's so easy to use. So I figured I should just mention it in case you're on the market for a camera yourself. I feel like we should also talk about editing softwares as well, because this is a question I get pretty often here on my channel. So when I'm editing my YouTube videos, I use CapCut, and I love CapCut, but my only concern with it is that if the TikTok ban does ever end up going through, CapCut is owned by TikTok, so you lose CapCut. So I am on the market for a new editing software. If you have any recommendations, I would love to hear them because I'm not really set on one, and the problem is I do love CapCut so much, I'm just not ready to part with it. So it is something I'm looking into. As for like music and things like that here on my channel, I use Epidemic Sound. They're my favorite that I've tried. I've also tried Artlist, but I just like Epidemic Sound better. And then a new recent favorite of mine has been the Instagram Edits app. It is so helpful because it includes all sorts of like trends and stuff like that inside of the app, and it helps you get ideas to create content. It also has an analytics page so you can see what type of things perform better than others and all of that sort of stuff that CapCut doesn't really have. So I've been really liking to edit my reels specifically in the Instagram Edits app, but I still do like CapCut for short form content. I just don't use it as much. Okay, so this next thing has to be an all-time favorite of mine, and it is my FlexiSpot standing desk. This is such a game changer, and this video is not sponsored. I have worked with FlexiSpot in the past, just for full disclosure, but I love this desk so much. I can't even begin to explain, but there are just so many things about this that really just make my life easier as a content creator. So for example, I spend a ton of time at my desk, but being able to just stand up, shake my legs out, I feel like is so much better for my health, but also better for my shoulders, my back, everything, all the pain that comes with crocheting. So I love it for that reason, but also when I am creating content, like making videos here on YouTube, it sort of turns my desk into a built-in tripod because I can simply raise the camera up or down with my standing desk. So I'll show you really quick. I think you can see it over here, but there's just a little button on the desk and I can just press it and raise the camera up like this or back down until I get the camera in the position that I want it to be. And it really is pretty quiet. Like you could hear it just now. It's really not super loud and it's very smooth and all that. So I just can't say enough good things about this. I have the FlexiSpot E7L and it is the best thing that I have in my craft room. I absolutely adore it. And the last sort of content creation, small business thing that I have to share with you is this little, it's not a tripod, but it's like a phone holder that you can put around your neck. And it's so nice for creating short form content, especially if you crochet, because I make all sorts of videos of me crocheting and working on projects, and you just pop your phone into it like this and you can just start recording. It's so nice because I used to have to put my phone inside of my shirt, but depending on the top I was wearing, it wouldn't always fit and sit properly. So this has been a game changer. I've been using this for about a year, and it's one of the only pieces of equipment that I use nearly every day. So I cannot say enough good things about this. I love it so much. So that concludes my 2025 crochet and small business favorites. I really hope you enjoyed this list. If you have anything that you would add to it, I would love to hear what some of your favorite crochet things are in the comments below, and maybe we can also shout out some of your favorite creators. I would love to just be able to shout out some more crochet creators here on YouTube, because there really are so many talented people that deserve all the recognition. So if you have any favorites, make sure to leave them in the comments below. And if you haven't already, I would love if you subscribe to my channel so you don't miss any of the really fun videos that we have coming up. Like I mentioned, we have a few yarn reviews we have to do. We have a really exciting tutorial for my cardigan pattern coming up very soon, so I would just love to have you stick around. And with all of that being said, I hope you have a great rest of your week, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!